Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards, and
January Liddell. Aloha.
Today we have an awesome guest. Her name is Sara Gullihur-Bradford. She is the podcast host to the SJ Childs show. Welcome, Sara.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me.
If you want to do a quick bio or introduction, we'd love that.
Sure. Well, I am a mother of three, married. My 14-year anniversary was just a couple days ago, and my family is all autistic, and I am passionate about helping the world see autism in a new perspective and really gain some understanding of how we can move forward and accommodate people coming into the future that are going to need more supports. And best thing to do is share the information from the people themselves. So this is, why I'm here today. And I'm thankful so much. I just love Helen and love following her and being in her groups. And I'm just so excited to be here. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Well, I want to jump right into it because you have a virtual autism summit coming up. I would love to hear more about your event and what is the passion drive behind that.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. So the event is this weekend, August 11th and 12th, and it is 36 autistic presenters. There are live musicians. We have Miss Florida USA, who's autistic. We have the first autistic Ironman. We have some autistic special needs attorneys, just some really cool people. We have Netflix Love on the Spectrum actress and CEO of Danimation, Danny Bowman, who is also an incredible and inspiring kind of pioneer, even though she's so young, just in showing what everyone can do when you think that they can show up. When you show up for something and you give them that empowerment to believe in them, like anyone can, we can do amazing things without our, I call them future tellers, fortune tellers, saying that we can or cannot do these things. I mean, it's just, there's no way to know. You just have to give all the support. And this journey started with our own family. My son was diagnosed 12 years ago. He was only 16 months at the time, and he was pretty severe. He was non-speaking, as well as pretty much just spun in circles and hummed and kind of bounced into things. And so we found ourselves like patting our house and trying to learn how to communicate with him. In the same breath, he was reading at 1 and writing at 2. And we realized at 3, he had a photographic memory. And so we were introduced to autism and just really started to learn how we could support his journey. And through that, so interestingly enough, our entire family over the course of the next decade all received a diagnosis of autism. And it just was very wonderful and brought us together so much as a family to be able to give each other a little bit more understanding and a little bit more grace and really feel like we belonged with one another because we just have, similar things that we could help support. And especially our son, who is the most supports are needed for him in our home. And so everybody kind of does their part. And we're all on this journey together. And so that and in all of the other projects I do in the community and elsewhere is what brings me to this second annual event, actually. And right now, the numbers of autistic people that are diagnosed with autism in the US is 1 in 36. So that's where we got the 1 in 36 mix, where I'll bring 36 autistic voices. We were going to try to get a non-speaking autistic with their speaking device, but it didn't work out. So I just really wanted to cover the entire range of the spectrum, if you will, and really give elevate these voices and stories that really help inspire families and other individuals in the future.
That's so beautiful. I'm so happy to hear that you've created this, and this is the second year. I actually didn't even hear about this. I've actually worked with children with special needs. I was a special ed teacher in Kamaili and Waianae, and then
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I love that population. It's such an amazing population to work with, and I think it's commendable that you're doing this, and I'm glad that we have you on the podcast. So I'd like to know, like, what's your goal? What's your goal in spreading this type of awareness?
Our ultimate goal would be to, obviously I'm doing this on a global scale, which is absolutely fantastic. But if I brought it a little bit closer to home, we would love to start a nonprofit, which we have kind of, ideas in the works and such. But also to open a center here in Salt Lake City, Utah, where we live, where we can help our own children to navigate in their future. And we'd love to see a center with better diagnostics, with better skills training for all ages, and more play therapy type of services. I think it's so important that we really understand, and something I'm trying to kind of preface on my platform is all behavior is communication. And the best we can support anyone on their journey in life is to help be passionate and compassionate about somebody's behavior, communication, no matter how that looks. And so when we really step back and recognize that maybe someone is having a hard time and they don't know how to express that bit of communication, then it might come out in different ways. And the more people can understand that, hopefully the better understanding will be in the greater of society.
I think that when January said that, she has a respect for the community because she used to work with the community, it's the same with me. When you're exposed to a certain community, then you do have more of an understanding, compassion with it. And when I listen to events that are going on, or people wanting to put on events such as yourself like this, people have this idea. There's a certain type of people that have this idea that, oh, I don't have kids with autism, I don't know anybody with autism, so this doesn't pertain to me. And I've been on your show, my little backstory. I've worked with kids for about 5 years. I was doing vision therapy, and had I not been exposed, I wouldn't have saw the signs in my own nephew when it came time, when he was born, and my sister was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, I think I know. So I love that you're doing this, and I'd really, reach out to the audience. Like, if you don't have anybody in your life that has autism, expose yourself to this community, because like you said, 1 in 36, that is a profound number. Why? I know you can't really answer this because you're not a scientist or God or whatever, but like, why do you think that is? But what is your deep thoughts on that number?
I'll totally give you my personal opinion. Preface that it is my personal opinion, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I am also autistic. And so I can give you my own expert advice on that. I really do believe now that I can see it from a mother's perspective, a wife's perspective, my own perspective, and look back in my own life. I now have such a better understanding that my brain was just formed differently, that my brain pathways are different than typical brains, that the smooth and rough parts are different, the gray and white parts are different. Everything about an autistic brain is different than a typical brain. So with that being said, we should expect, with our experience in evolution and knowledge throughout time, things are going to be different. Things are going to need to be emerged kind of experiences and new things learned, how to assist a new type of thinking or a different way of thinking than was known before. And I don't know that it really didn't exist in the past, rather than there are probably environmental and other things that have made it more prevalent. The internet has made it more prevalent. Now that we have a perspective of millions of people at once, rather than what we have in our small community to draw from, that gives us a huge perception difference of how to see the way people are learning differently. And being just passionate about early childhood education, I love to help people, parents, educators understand there are different types of learning and there's different ways children learn. And the easier you will have as a teacher and as a parent if you can really try to focus on that intent and find that way to help best teach your child. And, we have a really great quote that we say, and that is, a little bit of knowledge can turn fear into understanding. And that's what we're doing here with the, with our event, with all of the things we're doing, is just trying to help people that might not have any understanding realize that someday you might work beside an autistic individual, and how much better would it be if you could have good communication with them and maybe be more compassionate about some support needs that you don't have, that might seem off or strange or different to you, but are much needed for that individual to have just a positive experience as you do yourself. So really, thank you for, opening this up to the general public and just realizing that it is for everyone. It's not just for families or just for educators, but especially emergency responders. If you want to learn more about how to serve and better support the autism community, please, check it out. With the event, if you are a ticket holder, the tickets are only $25 for 20 hours of learning. That's spectacular. And it's a 2-day event. And there are, you'll have access to all of the speakers, all of the live presenters, musicians, podcasts, as well as 3 weeks of replays available too.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That was my next question is, what is the lineup? Like, what is the agenda for the weekend?
I won't read them all off because there's just 30, there's 36 of them. There are really so many, but we have some of the topics we'll be speaking of is especially autism in women. We have a professor from Arizona State University who does a class especially for female neurodivergent minds and really helping to understand how to navigate that. And because that's kind of a little bit far behind in the process than is with males and boys. So I think that that'll be a really great topic to have. There's also kind of a hot topic right now in the autism world, and that is pathological demand avoidance, or PDA, which is, I'm not even going to try to explain, because I have some amazing experts coming on that work with families and are very educated in the world of PDA. So that will be really wonderful. We have autistic authors that have written their own books and have amazing, inspiring messages to share. In fact, several of them have just traveled to Dubai to speak at the World Autism conferences and share their stories there. So incredible folks. I have 2 amazing musicians, one from a place called Spectrum Laboratory, and his name is Spencer Griffin. And he writes his own music and plays the guitar, and he'll play his songs and sing live for us. And then I have this, oh my gosh, incredible new artist that I found on Instagram, and her name is Lady Starbeast. Her voice is spectacular, and I cannot wait to watch her performance. So, and I don't know her yet, so I'm just like, oh, I can't wait. That's one of my favorite things, is just getting to know each of the presenters. And you guys know what it's like being a podcaster. There's this super special connection you can make with people. And I really feel like, especially when I show up with the intent of letting them show up, and they want, tell us your story. We're so excited for everyone to be here. And it really gives everyone a chance to gain their confidence. And it's so special to see that, especially with some of our presenters that, might be first-time presenters and are a little bit more nervous about it, or younger presenters that are just starting out. So it's just fantastic. From last year was called the 1 in 44 tour, because that was the numbers last year, was 1 in 44. And so interesting, like you had said, that the numbers are increasing. And many of the presenters from last year went on to start their own businesses, do more speaking engagements, just gained so much confidence in being with the other presenters in the community that have bigger platforms, and they're right beside them on this journey and in this event. So it's really special to watch, and especially just to be the one to kind of put everyone on stage, I think it's so exciting.
I think it's, go ahead, Helen.
I was just going to say, this sounds like an epic weekend coming up. And, in my own mind, I'm like, I wonder if I can make that. But what I love that you said is that the ticket includes recording. So if you can only make partial, you get the recording, so you can see it. And I was also thinking, I'm always thinking of the audience, who our listeners are. And, some people have no purpose in their life and they're seeking purpose. And I just thought, you have to attend something like this. You will be filled with purpose. I can already feel it just hearing what you're talking about. That's what I was going to say.
So I actually wanted to dig deep a little bit, because you mentioned the hot topic was PDA.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first that I've heard. So can you please elaborate about what that means?
You know what? I would, I'm like, I'm not even sure what the definition of it is, and I don't have my phone near me.
That's why you're going to have this specialist on to talk about it.
Yes, exactly. Because I know that it has to do with more difficult or challenging behaviors, and how to really understand the root of those. And maybe, and as you guys probably know, what could cause some elopers, which are, some autistics that may run away frequently, or cause aggressive behaviors. And so they'll really dive deep into how to best support those families that are in need of those things. I guess there's so many more topics. We have a nutritionist, we have special needs attorneys that are going to talk about special education. We have like I said, Miss Florida America, who will give her inspiring talk about being diagnosed at 5 years old and now being a pageant queen, and all of the amazing things that she's doing. There are some other folks that will be there doing documentary. They've done documentaries, and so we'll get some sneak peeks on some documentaries that are going to be up and coming too. It's like so hard to keep them. Oh, who's next? But I will definitely, you guys can share the link down in the comments, and you guys can go and watch the video. It's just a short 2-minute video that shows all the faces of all the people. You can also just go to the Hopin event page, and I'll get you that link too. Hopin's an amazing platform. If you haven't been on it yet, to check it out. You can have expo booths for your sponsors. so that they can have like their own pages of videos and content for your event. Then there's also the schedule. The schedule is so personalized. You can make your own schedule. You can choose things that you want to listen to and kind of put it in your own schedule to get notifications for when those speakers are up. And then you'll just get a little ding, and then you'll know that, okay, it's time to go check out, who's next. And so, yeah, it's a really wonderful interactive platform. Like I said, you're going to be able to chat with all of the live presenters. That means so much to them, to see that their audience is engaging in their topics and really listening and wanting to know more about them.
Yeah, that sounds super awesome. Sara, I wanted to ask you about something you mentioned before, your whole family being diagnosed. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
And were you diagnosed when you were younger or when you were older? Like when did
Yeah.
that happen for you personally?
It's a really interesting story. So I was the last in my family to find out. And I actually had a brain scan. I went to a wellness center. They had a doctor who did a brain scan on me. Then we talked about the results, and what they do is basically match those up with other individuals. And I went in saying, I'd like to know if I have this list. And so they knew what they were looking for. Basically, it wasn't just kind of a long shot, stick it to the wall. And so, but it came back with results that I wasn't expecting. I mean, I didn't know I was autistic. I did know I had anxiety. I didn't know I was ADHD. I had never been diagnosed, but what I did find out on this journey, and I was 45, by the way, just a couple years ago. I'm 47 now. So it was just a couple of years ago. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to announce it right away. But then it took maybe 5 weeks or more for me to really process it and think about that. And sometimes I think I don't give myself that much time because, I'm excited and all of the stuff. But on this journey, it really helped me to clarify some of the things maybe when I was a kid where I was called a drama queen, or I, have sensitivity to sound. And so when those things would bother me as a child, it was just brushed off as whatever it was, and so to now understand that, like, it was validating. It helped me to place myself in this human category instead of this different subhuman category. In fact, I'd once been asked on a podcast, what were you like as a 9-year-old? And I said, oh my gosh, I just wanted to belong. And I felt like a unicorn outside of all of these other horses that was just like different than everyone all the time. And I could get along with them, but I just couldn't get close. It was like something was always this magnetizing me away from things or something. But, then when I found out that, actually, when I started this journey and just started reaching out to other parents of my child's classes, then I started to form those friendships with them that helped me realize that I was in a community that I could be loved and could be supported. And I wasn't different from them. In fact, we were all of the same, and we could all help in like a vegetable soup or alphabet soup. It was just so many different ways that we could all be together and help one another. And that's what really started me on this huge journey, was to write my children's books, to start the podcast, to start these events, and just support all those beautiful little ones. I think that is where we change the future for our generations to come, is by teaching our children about the differences of their peers and how to best support them.
I love that you're talking about support, because I love your story about your 9-year-old and your 9-year-old self and wanting to fit in but not quite fit in. And then I love the growth aspect from your 9-year-old self to now being a parent and finding these, this community that you can actually, be in sync with and grow together. I have a feeling that we have audience or listeners out there that may have a child or children, or maybe even them themselves, that have certain nuances that they're not really sure, well, do I have something? Does my child have something? Or maybe still in denial that they have something. What would you say to somebody, to a parent, or to somebody who's questioning, their different like symptoms that they may have? I don't want to say symptoms because it's not a symptom. I guess the best way to say it is it's a nuance.
Language is so tricky, isn't it? Because you just want to like be respectful. Oh, I believe me, I completely get it.
Yeah,
and
it's not
it's so sensitive to everyone, and so you have beautiful intent, and that's the best part about it. And I think that, I kind of made this joke to my mom the other day, and it was just between her and I, that if you think or have someone that thinks a child is autistic, they probably are, because if you're not, and you're not going to think you're autistic if you're not. And so I kind of it was kind of like a little, and I mean, that's not meant to be funny and, a joking way about it in any way, and just kind of like an endearing way. But I really know from experience, from thousands of families that I've, been involved with, that knowing is where the power comes. When you understand and you can give the correct kind of support, that's when your success can start and will start to build, and your journey can take a different turn from confusion and being scared and not knowing what to do next to, okay, this is what I'm going to plan out next. These are the kind of therapies I might look into. There are several different types of therapies that go along with, autistic individuals, and some in the past were more negative. And I want everyone to know that just because something in the past wasn't a great experience for everyone, they're changing things. Like it is really important, I think, today to maybe make sure that if you are looking for therapy, it is neuro affirming a therapy so that you can find the right fit for your family. There's play therapy, which is just incredible and has so much success. There's equine therapy. There's just all these other types of things that can help make a difference and really help channel the experience for your adult or child, adult, individual that you are trying to support. But I think that if you are a mom and, you're afraid that things aren't going on the typical developmental thing, rate, as your doctor would say, it is scary and it is overwhelming at times, but there is so much more knowledge now. There's so much education and there's so much support out there. So if you are wanting to find out more information, I do have an autism advocate support group on Facebook. That's what it's called, Autism Advocate Support Group. Join us. There are 1,000 members that are autistic, are professionals, are parents, and can give boundless amounts of information and value to help you get through any situation if we don't know, we'll find someone who does.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I find it so fascinating that you got diagnosed at 45. I think that's amazing. And I think it's amazing because what that tells me is it's never too late. It's never too late, and you can always find out whenever. It doesn't matter how young or how, young once you were, right? You can still find out and you can still get the support. So thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to your virtual summit, your virtual autism summit.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I really took from that, Sarah, is, and well, thank you for being open and honest about your journey. I felt like a lot of what you said it pertains to all, probably the whole society, really, with the whole understanding and starting the point from success. And I was just thinking, gosh, that just really hits me in my feels, because I felt the words were very powerful, that I feel like a lot of the stuff that we can learn, can help us all in our own lives, not just if we're autism or if we know somebody with autism, but it can help all of us. Because if you just take the titles off, we're just humans talking to other humans, or humans getting inspiration and affirmative words from other humans. So I think there's a lot that we can gain from each other and in an event like yours. So yes, thank you so much for sharing everything. I appreciate it.
It's so much fun. I'm thrilled to be here with both of you ladies. I am absolutely just grateful and so happy that you were, took the time to have me on to help share this message, because I'm always excited to get in front of a new audience, and I just want to reach out and help every family and every individual I can. And I really just want to be elevating and connecting. And we were just watching, what was it, a Rick and Morty show, okay, and they were like, show us what you got. And now my husband keeps saying that about everything we do. He's like, Sarah, show him what you got. So now I'm just showing up, showing you what I got. And that's autism, but just kidding. I'm really excited to share all this. And these presenters they're so excited to be a part of this event. And I just want the world to show up for them and just be there and, interact, show up in the comments to let them know that their presentation is valuable and being heard. And so, yeah, I appreciate you guys sharing this with me so much today.
So where can we find you? Can you just kind of verbally share where we can find you, and the registration link? I know we're going to put in the show notes, but if you can also say it out loud. Thanks.
Yeah. The registration link is a little long, but I will give you the exact place you could just go to get a click. And that is sjchilds.org. Go to my website. I think it's like the second page down. You can just click right on the event. It'll take you right to the page and you can register. But if you do want to search for it, it is on the Hopin platform, which is HOPIN. And I want to say it's like Hopin Events 1 in 36 Autism Summit is the Hopin link. So hopefully, yeah, like you said, we'll share that down there so you guys can know where to go find us and support us. And I do have free tickets for families who would like to attend but may not be able to afford, and that's wonderful. Please reach out to any of us to let me know. We had amazing sponsors. If I can give them a shout out really quick, to Kathy Rodriguez with Safe Space Staging for Kids. That's tongue twister on that one. And also Quality Roofing and Energy here in Salt Lake City. Thank you guys so much for being our amazing sponsors. And now we can give free tickets out to families that need it, are in need. So I love that.
I think January is waiting for me. Thank you so much, Sarah. And also to our audience, check out SJ Childs podcast. I found it on Spotify. Can they find it on Apple, Sarah?
Everywhere. Yep.
Okay.
And you can find the podcast on my website too. Sorry, January.
No, it's good. I also wanted to say you had a Facebook page. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yep. The Facebook autism group is Autism Advocate Support Group. And my personal page, if you want to go and follow me, my name is up on the screen. So I will say it's Sara Gullihur-Bradford. And if you just Google SJ Childs on Google, you can find a whole bunch about me there too.
Awesome. Helen, where can we find you?
Yes, thank you again, Sarah, for coming on. We're going to wrap this up. You can find me on Hell of a Journey with one L. You can also find my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, on Amazon and Audible. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I appreciate you. January, where can they find you?
You can find me at januaryliddell.com. You can find me VIP Finance Builders on Facebook and Instagram. And that's how you can find me, or you can Google me as well. And I'm very accessible. So looking forward to this summit this weekend. So it's August 11th?
11th and 12th.
All right. And it's 20 hours. Did you say $20, $25?
$25, yeah.
$25 for registration. And it's virtual, so you can just sit in your home and you don't even have to turn on your camera if you don't want to. Or if you can't go, then there's 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks of replays that we can have access to. I'm excited. So thank you so much. It was great to meet you, Sarah. Looking forward to hearing more and learning more about you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Everybody. Aloha.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at sexyfreedommedia.com.